Women need to stop putting themselves last in every part of their life, but also with their finances. I was doing financial planning and working with people. We always went straight to, cash flow. What do you have coming in? What do you have going out? When you list out all of your expenses, you might be listing things like your house payment and all those things that you need to have, but you're also listing like going out to eat and, vacations. But there's not usually a line item that's like just specifically for you, where you're saying like, this is the money I spend on myself. This is the money I spend to go out with friends. This is the money I spend on getting my nails done. Whatever treats you, where's that line item on your budget? So the MeMoney Method is a way of choosing a number where you have complete authority to spend that money on whatever you want without answering to anyone, even yourself.
Are you spending and thinking about your money with intention? That's what we're going to be talking about today on the show. Welcome to Women Leaders on the Move, a Her C-Suite radio podcast. I'm your host, Natalie Benamou, and every week I bring you ideas and inspirational stories to help you in the second half of your career. I'm also the founder of Her C-Suite, a portfolio career company where we deliver programs designed exactly for that. Whether you're deciding if you're going to leave your corporate job or if you've already left and you aren't sure what to do next, you want to join a board or scale a business. All of those things are happening in Her C-Suite, and I hope you'll check it out. Today's guest is a member of Her C-Suite. We met through the Thrive in 2025 conference. I am thrilled to bring Linda Grizely to you today. She empowers women to take control of their finances with confidence, clarity, and purpose. She's the creator of MeMoney. Linda is the go-to voice in women's financial empowerment, sparking bold, values-driven money decisions. I cannot wait for you to hear this conversation, so let's get started now. Linda, I'm so excited to welcome you to Women Leaders on the Move today. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Natalie. I'm really love that you're having me, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
I can't wait to dive in because our listeners are going to be on the edge of their seat to learn all about the things we're going to be talking about. But I always like to ask a question first, which is for the people that don't know you like I do. Share a little bit about your journey to get to this moment, because I'm really excited for what we're going to talk about, but I want them to know a little history about you.
The short version is that I was working in financial planning, and when I was working with clients, I saw all these internal obstacles and I could see them, but it was trying to explain to them that they were there. It just fascinated me how many blocks they had and how they couldn't see the forest for the trees, right? Things that people had told them, what their parents told them, what their brothers telling them they should be doing, what this person did, the stories from their lives that shaped who they were in their money minds, right? And it all just was super intriguing to me. So basically, like I said, short version, where I'm at now is I'm building a place for people to learn about money, learn about planning, learn about all the things that go into their financial world, but I'm blending it with the real life stuff, like the messy stuff in our head, the messy stuff in our life, and helping them understand how it all works together in harmony.
I find what is so important with what you're doing is the stories that we tell ourselves, but it's also about combining that financial piece. And you discovered this in your personal life, which I think is so interesting. Can you share the idea behind MeMoney? Because I think people don't ever think of it that way. And I love that you do.
Yeah. So MeMoney was contrived from my actual own personal experience. My husband is a spender and I'm a saver. So he spends and he goes on golf trips, he goes on fishing trips, he's buying shoes, he's buying golf shirts, he's doing all this stuff. And yeah, I mean, the money's in the bank. It's not like we're going broke. He's not running up money on credit cards. So he's being good with money. But it's just like I am the saver. So I'm like, we should be saving more for retirement. I'm the planner. Like I know what. And so then I would be to the point where I'd be like, someone would ask me to go on a girls' trip. I'd be like, oh, I can't afford to go on that girls' trip. And I wouldn't go. But he's going and doing all these things and I'm not, because I'm like, I'm the one worried about the money. So I said to my husband, I said, I'm putting you on a budget. This is how much money you're getting. Every paycheck, I'm giving you this amount of money. You're going to put it in a separate bank account. And that's all you're going to spend on you. Anything that has just to do with you and nothing to do with me, you have to take from that money. And he's like, oh, he's like, so I get an allowance. Do you get an allowance too? I said, yeah, absolutely. I'll give myself the same exact amount. So even the playing field, we have the same amount of money. So this is how it all started. And I checked in with him and I said, how do you feel about this? Are you feeling, because I was worried. I'm like, are you feeling restricted? Like, do you feel like I'm controlling you? Because the last thing I want to be is controlling, right? I don't want to do that. I want him to have his freedom. We're a blended marriage. We got married when we were older. We have, both have adult children. Like, so there's some separation in our lives, but I didn't want to be controlling. And he said, no, actually, it's great because I'm making better choices. He said, so for instance, like I saw this golf shirt that I wanted, and he's thinking like, I really like this. This is super cool, but I have like, I don't even know, like way more golf shirts than he will ever need in his closet. And he's like, but if I buy this, then I'm going to say no to something else. I need to save this money for an actual golf trip. I'd rather have the golf trip than this golf shirt. So I said, so did you feel like did you feel bad about that? And he said, no, I was just making a better choice. I was just choosing what I valued. And so it was preventing him from spending that money. Now, my story, I have my me money now. So he has his me money and I have my me money. And I wasn't even calling it at that time because I hadn't named it yet. And so I was like, okay, I have this money. I have a checking account and a savings account. And I kept moving the money I wasn't spending into the savings account. So I had built up some money in my savings account. And I had these little packets of this facial regimen that I picked up. I was on a wine walk with a bunch of friends in a little downtown area. And they had these free samples at this place that did facials of this expensive, like facial stuff. And had these little packets and I kept using them. Like, this stuff is amazing. Like I would never buy this for myself. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I can do that now. And so I actually bought the whole entire face regimen. I have a day and a night. I paid for it out of my me money. And you know what? I didn't have to answer to anybody, but most importantly, I didn't have to answer to myself because there's no way I would have ever bought that for myself. I would have never paid that much money. Now, this has been going on for so long because I remember in my 20s putting this facial serum on my Christmas list or my birthday list for my relatives. My mother-in-law, I know, bought it for me and was like, this is just a weird thing to have on your list. But it was something I would never pay for myself. I wanted it, but I could never justify spending it. And now I can. And I'm not spending any more than I would have been before. I'm probably actually spending less because deciding if something's worthy of my money or not. And so that's how the concept of me money was born. And then when I started having other people implement it, I found that it works like for all money personalities. Like it worked for my husband's spender personality, it worked for my saver personality, and it works for other personalities too. And the main thing is that it gives intention, a thought process to how you're spending your money on yourself. That was the birth of the me money concept.
I'm the same way to think about, well, I can spend this money because I'm the one who's like, oh, I don't, if it's not on sale and I'm not getting a good deal, I'm not going to even look at it because I think, oh, I'm never going to spend that on myself. Like that just seems overindulgent or whatever. So I love the fact that whatever is in that bucket, you are spending with intention, but you're giving yourself the freedom to enjoy whatever it is that you're making the intention about, which is amazing. And what a great story. So thank you for sharing that. I was visualizing the whole thing myself because I actually do get from my oldest daughter face regimen for my birthday. That's my request is like, oh, did you get it for Christmas and my birthday? Like, what are you sending? So I can relate 100%. Fast forward to today, you are launching some really exciting courses to help with this decision making and intention about money. Can you share a little bit about what you're doing right now?
There's 5 different courses, and there's also a package for all the courses. They're not all built yet, so it'll be a little bit, but the courses are the MeMoney Method. So that's the one we just talked about. It talks about how to come up with your me money number. And it is budgeting, but there's a simple way to do it. And then there's a sit down and really face your finances way to do it too, all within the course. There's a money mindset course, which just is all about the mindset. And it talks about, we'll learn about like your story that you had when you were a child and how that was shaped and how that affects your life now. And I ran this course before and I'm just revamping it now, but the stories that people realize are that they learned when they were young and how they're affecting them now is actually amazing. I love hearing the stories, and I love seeing the light bulb go off with like, oh my gosh, I understand now why I'm doing what I'm doing. And then I'll have a financial foundations, which is for people who are just getting started. And that means not necessarily young, just people getting started figuring out what finance is all about. Because I've talked to people who are in their 60s who are just like, I should know about this. I don't know anything about this, and I really need to learn. So there's that one that could be for anyone just starting out. And then there's going to be a do it yourself financial planning course, which will teach you how to do your own financial plan. Not to take away from financial advisors or financial planners, but there's lots of people out there who feel like they don't qualify or they don't know who to trust. And it's a great place to start, even if you're going to, eventually work with a financial planner or a financial advisor. So, no, that's a lot of information, but those are the courses that I'm building. And the idea is that you'll have a trusted partner who's teaching you, who's educating you, and not trying to sell you something besides the course, sell you the course. But besides that, like you're not, you know that your money's safe. I'm not asking you to move it. I'm not asking you to do anything with it. I'm just teaching you about the things that you need to know.
And I wish I had had that course, to be honest with you, because my husband and I went ahead and we used the bank's financial planner. Like it was, you get this extra perk if you invest with the bank, right? A very big bank. And so they were like, oh, you're this premium client and we take good care of you, which they did. But it turned out when I asked specific questions, I started getting curious about where the money was being spent. And the investment advisor really couldn't answer my questions. And also when I said, I'm really interested in some, female-led companies, they do better. He was like, "Oh, I'm going to have to go research that. I don't know any Fortune 500 companies that are led by women." And I was like, "You're not my person. You're not my person." So, nothing against the person, but I hadn't paused. And I think that's one of the key things that I think your course is going to give people the freedom to understand and to pause and take a look and say, you know what? You don't have to just kind of go along with whatever the 401k is that your company is giving you. It's really empowering once you uncover that, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So many people have questions that they're afraid to ask, and they have, shame about where they are in their finances. Like they're embarrassed because they should know more, but they don't realize that there's so many people out there in that same boat. So this is the place to come, have a trusted guide in me and a community where you can talk to other people who are learning at the same time as you and just figuring it all out, because that's what we're doing through life. We're figuring it out. We're figuring it out as we go. And sometimes you need a safe space to do that in.
What are some of the things that you have found both as a financial advisor, but also in speaking to women about this? Where do you see there are gaps of where we talked a little bit about when, growing up, sometimes the stories we tell, but what are some other ideas that you've seen in your conversations?
There's two things to that. There's a lot of gaps with just women in general, because a lot of times the planning is done by the male spouse. And even though the partner, the husband, thinks they have the best interest of their wife in mind, they really have their own biases about what they're doing and how they're investing. And women are going to live longer, generally live longer than men. So we're going to be around after they're gone. We're going to take more breaks from work. We're going to take breaks to take care of kids. We're going to take breaks to take care of parents. We might even take breaks to take care of our husbands, right? So we're going to be in and out of the workforce more just because we are the people that take care of everybody. And that's going to leave gaps for us. So that might affect our Social Security. It might affect our earning power. So all these things that can be like the unexpected too, right? Where we need to plan for different things. We need to plan more for long-term care. We need to plan for if we end up alone suddenly for whatever reason. And a lot of that, like the guys aren't thinking about. They're not thinking about all those things that we worry about or that we should be worrying about. That's a big piece of it when I would talk to couples or women in financial planning, is like, you're going to live a long time. We need to be sure that you're using your money for me now, your me money now, but you're also paying your me later, your later me and your midterm me. Like there's different levels of how you look at where your money should go.
And if you think about the different age groups, it's never too early to start thinking about this, or it's never too late. What would you say to the people that are in the different phases? Because you could be I think we were talking earlier about, someone in their 50s and she was saying, I'm not paying attention. And you're like, what? You need to be paying attention, right? So every phase, there's always that opportunity in the door. That's what I love about what you're doing is that you're creating this safe space just to make it okay that it's okay that maybe you didn't do it.
Absolutely. And that's why I have piecemealed the courses out, because it's like, choose your adventure, right? Which place, where are you at? Instead of just saying like, here's a big old course, like here's the whole thing. Like, no, pick where you're at and start there. But the idea is that wherever you are, just start. So I don't care if you're 20, I don't care if you're 70, pick where you need to go and start there. And the thing is that a lot of people think of it like, well, I need to, as far as like going to talk to a financial advisor, or they're embarrassed to go because they don't have a handle on their finances. It's like saying like, I need to get in better shape before I go to the gym. No, you go to the gym to do that. So yeah, it's, everybody starts where they are. And it's like, meet you where you are. And one of the core things, one of the core values of my community is being authentic and show up messy, show up as your authentic self, be you, be honest, and let's talk about it, because I don't know why it's such a big deal that nobody talks about money. I do say in my group, like, don't share your MeMoney number, because everybody's number is going to be so uniquely them. There's so many millions of things that go into how that number is picked. So don't share that number. Don't give exact numbers, but talk about how it makes you feel. Talk about if you feel like it's not going to be enough. Talk about if you feel like it's, wow, I have more than I thought it was. But get those feelings out, because that's the part we need to talk about.
I think it's really important to be in touch with not only how it makes you feel, because that's part of our culture, I guess, is that, going out and you might be having a bad day. Well, I'm going to go and buy something, right? I'll buy this new pink jacket for me or whatever. Surprise, spoiler alert. I love the me money concept because it shifts that away from you can still do that and still have that experience, but you're not overdoing it, right? You're doing it with intention. And what have you seen of the transformation that some of these women are experiencing when they do this shift?
For most women, like I said, there's different personalities, but for most women, it's like they're finally have a space where they can put themselves first. They're last everywhere else. And they've been last on their budget. They've been last with their money. They've been last with the caretaking. They've been, everything. And now they're like, hey, I have this bucket of me first, and I can do whatever I want with it. And I don't have to answer to anyone. I don't even have to answer to myself, because it's already set aside. So it's already been decided. If I want to spend it, I can spend it.
I cannot wait for all the ways that you are going to be doing this. And you've just launched a podcast. Let's talk about all the things that you've got. You've got a lot going on. So you've launching a podcast. What is that about? What are people going to hear on your show?
I'm in total build mode right now. So I'm building the courses, I'm building the podcast. So the podcast is called Real Money, Real Life. And that's exactly what it is. So I'm going to bring on people who are experts in their field to talk about money, but not just about the money itself or things related around finances, not just that, but the mindset. So like if I had someone who came in who was, let's say a certified divorce financial analyst, who's a financial planner who works with people going through divorce. When they come in, I'll talk about the things that people that are going through a divorce need to know, how they help, but I'll also say, okay, so what are the things that you feel like hold your clients back? What are the mindsets and the obstacles that you see? Because that's what I saw as a financial planner, right? I'm talking about like how I saw it. And it was like, this is what my parents always told me. This is what my brother's telling me, like all those things. So I want to dive into what do you see are the obstacles? And the hope is that the people that are listening will learn about, the specifics and the details, but also they might be like, oh, so that's what it is. That's the reason why it's not clicking. Like I understand it now, because it's about that internal block where it's not clicking, right? So that's what I'm hoping to uncover. So my course is the same thing. All throughout the details of the financial stuff, I'm building in okay, how are you feeling about this? Why are you thinking about it this way? Could this be something you're thinking about? Is that an internal block? Like what is going on in your mind? So it's all bringing the money and the mind together, all of it. That's the harmony between the whole big package, between the podcast, the courses and everything, and public speaking too, right?
Yeah, public speaking. So talk about that. What are some of the things that you're talking about to businesses or organizations?
I can talk about anything financial. I can't tell them how to invest because I'm not working like as an actively licensed financial professional right now. I'm just being an educator. So I can teach them anything financial. The MeMoney Method, you can't live a life you love on a budget you hate. So that's my signature talk. And then I have other talks that are personal growth related, like what it means to be resilient, finding focus, your personal mission, vision, and values. So I'm a personal development junkie myself. So I love to help women go through like transformational processes and help just think bigger. Whenever somebody asks me what I would tell my younger self, it's always think bigger. And that's this journey that I've been on probably for the last, it's probably been 11 years now that I've started my think bigger journey. And it's never going to end. I'm just telling you right now, like I am a total junkie on it and I'm just going to keep learning and thinking bigger.
So, what does think bigger mean for you right now as you're looking forward?
It means a lot of things because I'm in this moment where I'm building, right? And I'm building this thing that I think is pretty big and I'm hoping that it's successful. And I want to help and empower as many women as possible. And that's really what this is about. And that's my big vision is how many people I can inspire, empower, and just help them to think bigger and get to the next level in their lives.
I could talk to you all day, Linda. This has been such a great conversation. If people want to know more about you, where should they go to find you?
The best place to go is my website because everything is on there. So lindagriz.com, LINDAGRIZ.com. I shortened my last name because nobody spells it right. So, but if you type in my whole last name, you'll get there. And if you type it in the wrong way, you'll also get there. So I have those two URLs too that go right to it. lindagriz.com. And then there's also a free money personality quiz on the resources page and also a money confidence and a bunch of other stuff too. But I encourage and invite everyone to go take the money personality quiz because you might be surprised at your results and it might tell you a little bit about how you can work with that money personality because there's no wrong money personality. There's not a good one and a bad one. It's just all like, who are you and how can you use that to your advantage?
So good. I'm going to have all of that in the notes. And of course, in her C suite, thank you for being in her C suite. We met through Thrive, the conference. We'll be talking about that in our community as well. I am so glad that we got the chance to meet today. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks, Natalie. It's always great to talk to you. And I really appreciate you having me on.
Thank you for spending your time with us today. I learned so much in this conversation with Linda. I bet you did too. Be sure to get all the details in the show notes or on her csuite.com. I have a longer version where you can get all the resources. If you found this program helpful, I hope you will check out our portfolio career programs. They're designed specifically for you in the different phases of your life. And if you found this helpful, will you share it with a friend or colleague who needs me money? I know there's a lot of women in our lives who could use this episode, and it would be wonderful for her to hear it as well. Keep shining your light bright. The world needs you.